First, we will create new directory for our statements and we will create new file. Inside of our main function, we will create 4 new variables, like this. Let's now see what we can do with if statement. We will use if statement when we want to investigate something and to run specific code only in specific cases. In if statement, we can use all mathematical operators, but also we can use logical operators. Let's see the example. On start of each if statement, first we will write reserved word if. Then we want to write statement which will be analyzed. So let's say we want to know if num1 and num2 variables have exactly the same value. We will access num1 variable, we will write mathematical operator, in this case equal, and then we will investigate our equality with num2 variable. After that, we will open our code block. Inside of this block, we can write some code. In this example, we want only to print specific message if these two numbers are equal. In case that our num1 and num2 variables have exactly the same value, our code inside of our block will be executed, which means that we will see our message. In this case, this statement has value true because value of num1 is equal to value of num2. Let's see another example. In this case, we want to check if value of name1 is not equal with value of name2. This statement is also true because name1 and name2 values are not equal. In this case, our message inside of our block will also be printed. Let's now add logical operators in our statements. In third example, we are checking if name1 has a value David, but we are also checking if name2 is equal to Alex. In fourth example, we are checking if name1 is David, but we are also checking with OR operator does name1 has value of Alex. In this case, at least one checking is true, so our block will be also executed because this if statement in final result will have true value. We can also add not equal sign and also combine that with logical operator. At least one statement is correct, which means that also our block will be executed. So now we explained how we can use basic form of if statement. Final picture of our if statement will be that if our result in if statement is true, if statement will execute code inside of if block. In other case, if result from if statement is false, code inside of our block will be skipped and our program will continue with next function immediately. You can execute our application inside of terminal to see whole output. Let's now see how we can write more complex if statement when we have multiple branches and when we need to investigate more than one if statements in one block. Let's now create a new file. Now we have two variables with different names, and in this case we want to create if statement which have multiple investigations. How we can do that? We will write default if statement. Here we are checking if name1 is equal with name2. But what if we need to investigate something else also inside of this if statement? We will write additional function which is else if. After our if block, we will type else if and then we will write new investigation. Let's say in this case we want to know if value of name1 is David, and also we want to check if name2 is Alex. After second investigation, we will again open new block. Now, inside of this block, we will write code which will be executed only in the case if name1 is David and name2 is Alex. So, how this whole cycle works? If first if statement in our first investigation fail, then our if will go to next investigation. In this case, that will be else if, where we want to check if name1 is David and name2 is Alex. So, in case if our second investigation is true, then we will execute code inside of our second block. Also, if second investigation give us false result, code in second block won't be executed and our program will just continue with next function. So now we can see that we have if, we have else if, but we have also third operator, which is else. So let's write case with third operator. In this if statement, in first investigation, we want to check if name1 is not equal with name2, and we also need to check if name1 is equal to Bill. So that investigation will give us false value. Our if statement will go to next block. In next block, we have else if, where we want to check if name1 isn't equal with David and the name2 isn't equal with Alex. Also, in this investigation, result will be also false. What happens now? We have third operator, which will be else, and else will be executed as default state of our investigation. And it looks like this. As we said, this will be default state, which means that at this point, our else operator won't analyze anything else and he will only execute code inside of else block. In this case, first two investigations failed and give us result false. So in this case, whole our if statement will execute code inside of our else block. Let's try another example. In this case, we have four investigations. First, if statement will run first investigation. As we can see, now we have two else if, so you can know that we have a multiple else if operators, but we can have only one if and only one else. Between them, we can have as many as we want else if operators. In this case, our if statement will execute our else operator, and else operator will execute code with message that names 1 and 2 are not equal and their values are David and Alex. Now we understood how we can build whole if statement. Let's now see how we can initialize our variables inside of our if statement. After each new file, you should save your file and execute our application in terminal, just so you can see whole output of our application. Now we will create a new file. In this case, we want to create new variables inside of our if statement. We will write if, then we will initialize two new variables. So now, after we initialize our new variables, we will start our investigation. Now we want to see if name1 is equal with name2. After we write our investigation, we create new block and we write new code inside of our block. All the rest in our if statement goes exactly like in previous examples. In second investigation, we want to check if name1 is equal to David and name2 is equal to Alex. After that, we will write else case in case that we get fail for all our investigations. But in this example, second investigation will give us result as true. So after second investigation, we won't go further and we won't open our else operator, which means that code inside of block where we have second investigation will be executed. Let's see another example. In this case, we initialize num1 and num2 numbers, but we also initialize check variable, which is boolean, and that variable has value true. After we initialize our variables, we want to check if variable check is true. So in this case, our if statement will give us true value. Because of that, inside of our block, we will execute message where we will sum variables num1 and num2. Let's see another example. Here we initialize our new num1 and num2 variables, but now variable check has value false. We have new operator in front of our check variable, which will invert our value. So in this case, variable check has value false, but our operator will invert that value false to true. So in final picture, our if statement will pass and will give us result true. Our code inside of our block will print us message where we calculate value of num1 variable minus value of num2 variable. In the next video, we will see how we can create switch statement and for what we can use that statement.